Hi, all. So thank you so much for having me, NFT.NYC. I'm very excited to be here to speak to you today about the metaverse and NFT art and how this topic has become so mainstream just in the last few weeks when I began writing this. So when I was growing up, I had a lot of health issues, and art was always my light, and tech the vehicle for accessibility and inclusion. And I know that everybody here this last year and a half can definitely relate to those people who continue to be isolated. And through art and tech, we have the capability to not only heal ourselves, but also those that we're potentially able to reach. So here is a VR painting from 2018 of mine, and I have a story for you from a few years ago when I was showing this. I was invited to give a VR feedback to one of the top tech companies, and upon meeting me, they immediately yelled at me to get back behind the bar. And my colleague said, no, she's one of the VR artists here, and they profusely apologized, and then I just made a joke of it and said, well, I used to be a bartender. I'm sure I can make you a great drink. What would you like? So I'm sure everyone here has had assumptions made about them upon first meeting, and that's one of the things I love about both the crypto and the XR space, is our ability to create avatars and friendships and work relationships and live all with avatars of our own choosing or remaining completely anonymous. I believe that one day there will be a CryptoPunks of the metaverse. So what is the metaverse? We hear about this a lot in pop culture. This is still from Ready Player One. If you watch this film, you'll see some things that are already possible and what will soon be possible. Now, when you hear someone using the term metaverse, I want in your brain to replace it with internet. And if their sentence now seems ridiculous, then it probably is, because I'm sure that you have an innate understanding of the fact that the internet is not owned, operated, or controlled by any one person or company, and neither is the metaverse. So I believe that the metaverse is an extension of the internet. It's going to be our next phase, that we're experiencing real-time, volumetric, simultaneous interactions. And so it's very exciting. And I'll show you a couple more examples. So when I say XR is not the only way to experience the metaverse, but it's definitely the best way. And gaming is not the only way to experience XR, but they were just the first to really create these real-time volumetric interactions in an accessible way. So you've probably all heard of Pokemon Go. That's augmented reality, and then VR, Travis Scott inside of Fortnite, and then both of these things together mean XR, extended reality. And then you'll see a still of me doing VR painting. So some things that we're already exploring inside of things like Fortnite is, the potential to, people are already spending money on digital assets. So what if more things become NFT'd inside of these metaverses, and then people have the capability to not only have, fashionable items and skins, but they're able to own these items and then potentially, gain provenance and resell these. So that's where I see our future in this convergence of metaverse and crypto. So this is a mixed reality capture of me doing VR painting so that you can see what I'm seeing inside of the headset. The first time that I learned of crypto's importance to VR, AR, and digitally native practices was years ago. I was invited to give a presentation of my VR art at a blockchain startup in Manhattan. And there was also a crypto company presenting, and this is the first time I learned the term digital scarcity. So at that time, as many of you know, we weren't using the term NFT yet, but at that moment I understood what we would now know as NFTs, and a light bulb went off, and I just became very excited and started telling anyone with a digitally native practice about this new technology that I thought was going to be so important for artists. So after our presentations, I was able to show my new crypto friends my XR painting that was the old days of VR at that time. And they gave me my favorite compliment I've ever received, which was, wow, you can really tell that a human made this. So the XR and crypto communities, although they're very inclusive communities, they still seem to be a little bit suspect of each other. I've had a crypto colleague say, I just don't see how AR, VR is relevant to me. And I've had a XR colleague say, I'm in virtual worlds all day. If I was going to buy art, I'd want it to be real. So this is another example of how I've included crypto and XR. So it's a NFT still of a virtual reality painting that was in Paris Hilton show this summer. And then I also have an augmented reality oil painting that was at Art Basel a couple of years ago. So after a few years in the XR space, I began thinking about inclusion and accessibility more within my own practice. And I started creating augmented reality filters that were available on publicly centralized social media platforms. And I first did this in 2019 at the Ace Hotel in Manhattan for my XR music performance and oil painting exhibition. And soon after, the filters went viral, and I started getting all of these funny anecdotal stories. So I had a friend that was nominated for a Grammy in early 2020, and there was a woman filming in front of her, and she tapped her on the shoulder and said, "Excuse me, what app is that? That's my friend's art." And so from all these stories, I just started texting back the same meme, which said, "Wow, you have so many people consuming your art for free. You must be rich." So that's another example of why I thought, wow, like crypto and XR and anything digitally native, it's going to be very important for artists. So some other use cases, I have an XR, like volumetric VR sculpture. So I have the headset on and I'm sculpting in the air. And then this was one of the things that was inside of a 360 VR video, as well as the viral AR filters, and is now minted as a volumetric NFT. Oh, and I'm wearing some 3D printed VR sculptures. If we talk after, you can see what they look like up close. And then here's another example. It's a VR still minted as an NFT, which also functions as a QR code. So if anything is high contrast enough, it can function that way, and it triggers an augmented reality experience. And the AR experience, I didn't have complete ownership over because it was a public platform. And because of that, it came as a bonus. But then I began thinking about how can I have more ownership over this for myself and collectors. So then I began making my own app, and also creating that in preparation for my solo exhibition at the Venice Biennial next year, which I'm so excited to do. It's a dream, and there's going to be XR, VR, NFTs, volumetric VR sculptures hanging from the ceiling, AR-triggered oil paintings, and a Metaverse music performance. I'm also a musician. And so I'm really hoping that this, as such an honor, if you haven't heard of the Venice Biennial, it's been often called the Olympics of the art world. And I feel a great duty to represent both the crypto and the XR space in the best possible light. And I really hope to inspire more collaborations between these communities and a greater acceptance and appreciation from the global art world. So, yeah. So, in closing, I would like to ask my crypto and XR friends, talk to each other more. Let's converge and let's demand Web3 inclusion in our metaverse, which is inevitably going to be mainstream. And because the convergence of the XR and crypto communities will be a metaverse with inclusion and accessibility beyond our wildest dreams. So with that, I'll leave you with a lyric from one of my songs. Reaching hands towards those in the quicksand. I saved myself too. In me, I see you. So thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to all the other great talks this week.